They never saw the enemy, not once. For the entire duration of the conflict, every battle, every casualty, every ship destroyed, humanity fought something it could not see.
Earth-Romulan War, 2156 to 2060. The Dominion War killed 800 million people. It lasted 2 years. It had cloaking devices, fleet engagements, orbital bombardments, and a villain with a face. Historians call it the darkest chapter in Federation history.
They are wrong. The Dominion War was a horror humanity could comprehend. The Earth-Romulan War was something else entirely. There were no faces. There were no names. There were no voices on an open channel before a ship was destroyed. For 4 years, Earth fought a war against an empire it could not identify, could not locate with precision, and could not negotiate with. Because the Romulans refused contact. All of it. Complete silence. Kirk's science officers said it plainly. Earth vessels fought the Romulans for a year, without a clue as to what they looked like. A year of combat. No visual contact. Every engagement was fought on instruments alone, targeting solutions based on sensor readings. No confirmation of a kill until the return signal disappeared. This is not science fiction. This is the psychological architecture of total war. In 2156, Earth did not have phasers. It did not have photon torpedoes. It did not have deflector shields capable of sustained engagement. It had spatial torpedoes, nuclear ordnance, the same class of weapon humanity had been detonating on its own surface for 2 centuries. The Romulans had plasma weapons. A single plasma torpedo could disable an NX-class vessel in one strike. But the Romulans had a problem. Plasma torpedoes bleed energy across distance. At maximum range, the yield dropped sharply. The Romulan tactical doctrine required closing to short range before firing, in a war with no visual contact, against an enemy using instruments. That is what the first 2 years of the war looked like. Human ships using long-range nuclear weapons against sensor ghosts. Romulan ships closing to plasma range in silence. Both sides destroying ships they had never seen. Both sides identifying the dead by the absence of a signal. Earth did not fight alone. The coalition of planets, Earth, Vulcan, Andoria, Tellar, had signed a mutual defense framework in 2055. It held for approximately 18 months. Then Vulcan began recommending a negotiated settlement. The logic was sound. Earth's losses were mounting. The Romulan advance was systematic. A negotiated withdrawal from contested space would preserve population centers. Earth refused. The coalition fractured under the pressure, and Earth continued fighting, alone, against an enemy it could not see, in ships that could not survive a direct hit, with weapons designed for a war fought 100 years earlier. The Kobayashi Maru scenario is a test, a simulation, a no-win scenario designed to measure a commander's character under impossible pressure. It is also a record. During the Earth-Romulan War, the scenario the test simulates was not hypothetical. Civilian and commercial vessels were caught in contested space regularly. A rescue attempt meant crossing into Romulan-controlled territory, with no visual contact, with no confirmed enemy position. With no guarantee the distress signal was not bait, commanders made that calculation in real time, not in a simulation, not in a training environment, in the dark, against an enemy that was listening. The test exists because the war proved that no amount of tactical skill solves an impossible problem. It is a memorial, disguised as an examination. There is something specifically designed to break a human mind about fighting something with no face. The Dominion War had the founders, a known entity, a face, a name, a planet of origin, a negotiating position. Hatred is a functional tool in warfare. It gives the enemy a shape, a scale, a boundary. The Earth-Romulan War had none of that. No face, no name humanity had confirmed, no voice that had ever spoken to a human officer. just sensor readings and silence, and ships that were there and then weren't. When the war ended, humanity had fought 4 years against an empire whose appearance it still could not confirm. The Treaty of Algeron created the neutral zone, 22 light-years wide, a buffer zone the scale of which had no precedent in interstellar history. Empires do not create 22 light-year buffers because they are confident.
They create them because they are afraid and because they do not know what is on the other side. In the Dominion War, the Federation had allies, the Klingon Empire, eventually the Romulans themselves.
Starfleet, a century more advanced than anything Earth fielded in 2056. Shields, photon torpedoes, communication arrays capable of coordinating multi-fleet engagements in real time. In the Earth-Romulan War, Earth had the NX class, 7 ships. The entire human deep space capability in 2156 was 7 vessels, against an empire that had been conducting interstellar warfare for centuries. The Dominion War is called darker because it is documented. Because DS9 showed the casualties, the refugee camps, the broken officers, the moral compromises. The Romulan War is not darker because it was larger. It is darker because it was invisible. 4 years of deaths that history summarized in a single line from a science officer. 1 line. For 4 years of a war that built the Federation. The Earth-Romulan War ended in 2160. The United Federation of Planets was founded in 2161. 1 year separated the end of a war from the birth of the most significant political institution in the known galaxy. That is not coincidence. The coalition that had fractured under pressure, Vulcan recommending withdrawal, Earth refusing, emerged from the war with a shared trauma and a shared recognition that a species alone, fighting blind against an empire it could not see, would not survive the next contact. The Federation was not built on idealism. It was not built on principle. It was built on the specific, documented proof that Earth could not fight the next war alone. 58 years of Star Trek television, hundreds of episodes, warp cores, holodecks, Borg cubes, the Dominion, the temporal Cold War. The Earth-Romulan War received no television series. It received 2 novels, Michael A. Martin's Beneath the Raptor's Wing and its sequel, and a handful of canonical references across Enterprise and the original series. That is the entire record. 4 years of a war that built the Federation. A war fought blind, against an enemy with no face. And the closest humanity came to documenting it was a test, a simulation, designed to teach cadets that some situations cannot be won. The Dominion War has its records, its casualty figures, its battle logs, its survivors who could name what they had fought. The Earth-Romulan War has a neutral zone, 22 light-years of empty space. That humanity agreed, in writing, to never cross again. That is not a treaty. That is a scar. The enemy was never seen. The fear never left. If you want more of the hidden wars behind Star Trek, subscribe and comment which forgotten chapter of Federation history we should uncover next.